a.m. in California, and that's where we process our orders. They're just getting started, but we ship our orders from here in Nashville. They've been working for 2 hours and they've shipped out 185 orders. Now let's scroll on over to the right to this new thing called Epicor Data Discovery. Now these tiles are active and animated. You can see them kind of scrolling through the metrics that are in each chart, capturing each point, each bar, each column on a chart, and showing you the number and the label that goes with that. So you can just kind of watch that for a little while and see what's happening, almost like a ticker. Or you can go and grab any tile, expand it out, and see more of the detail that's below it. You see something interesting on that ticker? Let's go dig in a little bit. So this one that's showing a little bit of my receiving history, I can see that for a couple of months, we were receiving a lot of stuff early on. That can kind of disrupt what we're doing in the warehouse. And then we had a month where just everything was late. That's not good either. And then 4 months of exactly 100% on-time receiving. I can see that from that detail, and I can do that with any one of these tiles in Epicor Data Discovery. The next thing I want to show you is how to create one of these views with Epicor Data Discovery. So I'm opening up a new panel here, and I'm going to open up a fresh new view, and I can pick data either from all those BAQs or from the data warehouse. In this case, I picked the data warehouse and inventory on hand. That gives me a nice palette to work with. You kind of expect, okay, well, I'm going to do the usual bar chart, line chart, pie chart, etc. But I'm going to click on this.
That's so yesterday now.
That is so yesterday. I'm going to do this map, not a map of the country, a map of our warehouse. All right, and on that map, I'm going to highlight on-hand quantity. I'm going to go and grab the bin number and move that up to location, all right? And then I'm going to need date. So I'm going to grab date, and I'm going to move it to this area called animate, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. Now I only want to look at 1 month worth of data at this point, so I'm going to go down and grab month name. I'm going to drag it all the way over here to the right, drop it in there, so that's pick January.
Visual view of your warehouse.
That's my warehouse, right? The darker the blue, the more inventory quantity I have in that bin at that time. Now it's going to start to animate and show me day after day what's happening on the floor of that warehouse. Where is that inventory going high? Where is that inventory going low? I can watch it animate, or I can go up and grab that time marker and drag it to the right. This is like time-lapse photography. I can see what's happening on that floor for the entire month of January as I drag that off to the right. We learned something kind of fun while I was doing this recording. We're going to go back to the beginning of the month and watch these 3 packing lines in the middle of the warehouse. In the first few days, we're using all 3 packing lines, right? But after day 5,
they go dead.
I'm down to 1.
Yeah.
And I scroll through and I see I don't use those packing lines for the rest of the month. Maybe there's something I can do differently with that space in the warehouse, reconfigure a few things, and make my business more efficient. So these are some of the exciting things we're going to be able to do with Epicor Data Discovery. A few more clicks, you can take that tile and put it here on your home page so that you know more and do more every minute you're working with Epicor ERP.
In fact, right after this session, you and Leanne are going to be showing more of this.
Absolutely. We'll dig into this just a little bit deeper. And you can go down to the Solution Pavilion and take a look at what's coming out in Epicor 10.2.
Great.
Yeah, to have green bead link.
New set of crayons for the developers.
Exactly. But I can unstack the graph just by clicking which bar chart I want. Everything is very fast and fluid. I can switch to a line chart if I wanted to have a multi-series line chart or a pie chart. I can switch, which kind of categorization I want, whether it's year, month, or by group, or by customer. We could add some labels. And it's very reactive. You see what you get as it's working, and when you save it, it just goes back to your home page. And when you save it, you can save it for yourself, or you can save it publicly for others to use. And because it's wired to the Epicor system underneath, all the security flows through. So that you create a sales report, I run it, I only see my prospects.
Excellent.
And then what else? I just want to do a couple of other things. Oh, there's some filtering on the side, there's groups, and you can actually really hone down to the GL period you want, or the product categories you want, and you have all of that control. But the other cool thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of this one, and I'm just going to create one from scratch. So it brings me up to this little gallery that, so these are sort of some of the visualizations we've already made. I'm gonna hit the plus button. And instead of talking to a data warehouse, I'm talking to a business activity query, which is a bread and butter piece of technology in our stack, the fabulous back. And we've got these automatically sort of wired to the metadata behind our business activity query. So in fact, if I hit this drop down, I know it's a little hard to read in the back. Some of these are really familiar to you because they're sort of come in the box. I'm just gonna click OK. So what EDD does, what Epicor Data Discovery does, is we scan the BAQ and we know what the measures are. We know what needs to be summarized and we know what needs to be categorized automatically. So I'm just going to grab the selling quantity and put that into my rows bucket. And I'm going to go down to the customer and drill in, and I'm just going to pick state and drag it into this column zone. So I get this cool little tiny bar chart, dot chart, which is kind of hard to see. But I can also grab the selling quantity and I can drag it over to the size bucket, which means to make the dots relatively larger depending on the value that we have here. I can also just make this a line chart if I wanted to, and I can change the axes, or I can change the sorting, so I can bring the sorting around, bring it to the other side. Tons and tons of control. And these are the different chart types up top, and I'm going to choose map. And you showed this earlier with the warehouse layout, but I just wanted to show that you can put any map that you want to into Epicor Data Discovery, and with SVG and some really simple technology, you can label it in such a way that you can find it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the selling quantity, put it down in here, and I'm going to take the states and bring it down and map that to our location, and I'm going to select a United States atlas. So it'll automatically apply the data to the visualization just like you did, and you can have some control over the colors. So that I like the outliers, so you can go larger to smaller, or you can do red to green, which we should have done to the other one, and you can kind of see where you make a visual depiction of the story. Right. So that's data discovery in a nutshell. It's really exciting. I know Brian Connor, Brian Hadrup have been busting to get this to customers for months now. And
That's great.
Super excited about it. But I also brought one more thing with me.
I'm gonna, wait, gotta save that one.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you something about Epicor Data Discovery, because we've also mentioned Epicor Data Analytics. Can you give me a little bit of a business difference between those two solutions, Epicor Data Analytics EDA and Epicor Data Discovery EDD?
Yeah. It's simple. Epicor Data Analytics is a cloud service. It's about KPIs and trends over a long period of time. Doing comparative analyses and doing analyses with outside data like demographics. So long-term trends and KPI management. Epicor Data Discovery is operational. It looks right at your real-time data, and it's designed for ERP users to go build the ERP story for themselves.
Right. Know something right now to make tomorrow better than today.
And speaking of tomorrow,
Very good.
one of the other things that we've been working on, the one more thing I wanted to show is this guy. This is a Microsoft HoloLens. This is the coolest thing Epicor's ever let me expense. I'm gonna put it on here, and somebody left it on, and I'm standing in the Coliseum. That's weird.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. But this is a self-contained PC, and if we can take a look at some video we have, we've been working with Microsoft and Valorum on a proof of concept around using the HoloLens to identify a QR code, going out to ERP, bringing up the contents of a palette of goods.
By just looking at what...
You look at it, you gesture, you can get a 3D rendering or a 3D configured rendering of a configured part. This is an exoskeleton by our customer Boers, the Boers company in the Netherlands, who were the first go live on E10 and the first go live on E10.1, by the way.
Excellent.
And you can actually walk around these 3D models with this
No kidding.
technology.
But you've also
on it.
got an Epicor screen on there.
Absolutely. So it'll bring up where's our last drop shipments been, what's my order history, and I can kind of get a 360 view, literally, of the order right there just by looking at the QR code. So if you want to check this thing out, we have the same session that Stephen Edgington was talking about earlier today, the behind the